Yes, I just came from the 8 o'clock premiere of The Hunger Games, and you know what? Before I start this review, I'm going to compare this movie a lot to the Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2. I'm going to get that out of the way. The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. Part 1 out of 2 to the epic conclusion of the Hunger Games trilogy. Yes, the Hunger Games is actually coming to an end, and that's sad because the first one was good. The second one is absolutely one of the best sequels I've seen in a long time, and it was awesome. It was one of my favorite movies of last year. Now we're going to the third movie, which is actually part 1 of the last book, which is Mockingjay. So in this one, it's a little spoiler for Catching Fire, by the way. So this one picks up right after Catching Fire. Katniss is in District 13, which they live underground. District 13 is the district the capital has forgotten. They kicked out the districts and everything, and they pretty much know the capital's secrets, and they want a revolution. They want to start a war. They want to defeat the capital and President Snow. And now, since they have Katniss, the Mockingjay, they're now going to make her do little videos and send it across every district to build up an army to kill the capital. And throughout this whole movie, you got these other districts killing the guys in the white suits were pretty much a part of the capital, and they're just taking them down, and they're building this army to the epic finale, which is going to be in part 2, because this one is basically the talking movie. I know, Mockingjay, you expect me to get this a 10 out of 10, but I'm being honest. This movie was a little boring. If you've ever seen The Walking Dead, or any type of TV show basically, when there's a big episode coming up, and they have that episode before it, which is basically a build-up to that big, epic episode. This is exactly that case, just like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. It had action, it was interesting, and it was just building up to Part 2, which was basically action. This is this movie, except it didn't have all that very interesting and action throughout the whole part 1. I mean, part 1. This movie did have a few action scenes, and they were cool. Definitely, they were cool action scenes. But when there weren't, there was like 3-minute action scenes, and they go straight back to a good 40 minutes of talking about how she's gonna dress for this video we're about to film, so we can send to the capital and be like, let's destroy them in the next movie. That's this whole movie, guys. It's her making these different videos they can send to the capital and the districts to build an army and defeat the capital. And so, this all leads to the very end, which is actually my favorite part in this whole film. The ending of this film is intense. It's all coming together, and we're ready for part 2. It's gonna be a big bout, and then ends, and we get a cliffhanger again, and it is a big dang cliffhanger. And I don't know what you're thinking. Can you spoil it? No, I'm not going to spoil this cliffhanger. I didn't spoil Catching Fire's cliffhanger, so I'm not going to spoil Mockingjay Part 1's cliffhanger. But it is another cliffhanger, and it's a pretty big cliffhanger. But overall, I like the movie. I will tell you, go see this movie. Definitely, go see it in theaters. Go see it in IMAX. I didn't see it in IMAX. I just saw it in regular 2D. But it's definitely a good movie. I mean, it's boring, and it just doesn't have that interesting part 1 and everything. It pretty much is the build up to part 2. But overall, it had great acting from Jennifer Lawrence, Liam Hemsworth, Josh Hutcherson, who's not in the movie a lot, but he's in it. Everyone did a great job. Philip Seymour Hoffman did a great job. Rest in peace. It had really good acting. It had some interesting moments. And you can tell there's no more games. This is war, and this is part 1. This is the build up to part 2, which I expect to be an epic conclusion, just like Harry Potter. Part 1 was a build-up, but it was better than this movie, and it led to part 2, which was absolutely amazing. I hope this happens here, but part 1 did not do great, but I think part 2 can make it just wipe out part 1 and part 2 can be amazing. So my review is part 1 of Mockingjay series, or Mockingjay part 1. It is a build-up. It is a good movie. It's definitely worth seeing. I'm going to give this movie a 3.5 out of 5. It's build-up. It's somewhat boring, but I hope it leads to something bigger, which is going to hope being part 2. So yeah, guys, I know, I'm not a 10 out of 10, not a 5 out of 5, but I'm being honest. It was a little disappointing, but it is coming to an end, and it was a good movie. Anyway guys, hope you guys enjoyed this review. See you guys next time. Bye guys.